Welcome to Everything Fear. Today, in honour of Women in Horror Month, I'm going to be going through my personal top 10 favourite horror movie heroines. Welcome to Everything Fear, your one-stop shop for all things horror. I'm Kit Tinsley. I'm a horror author, film academic and general horror geek. If you enjoy this video, if you could please subscribe, give us a like and maybe tickle that bell icon to be notified of future content, that would be great, thank you. As I say, today in honour of Women in Horror Month, I'm going to be giving you my list of my personal top 10 favourite horror movie heroines. Number 10, Alice, Resident Evil. Although the Resident Evil movies are far from being the best movies ever made, and Mila Jovovich's character of Alice became increasingly superhuman throughout the series, I still rate the first movie as an entertaining zombie action movie. Based on the popular game series, the movie was directed by Paul W. Anderson. In the first movie, Alice is a woman with no memory, but an instinctual set of skills that suggest that she was some kind of special forces, or at the very least an incredibly well-trained soldier. The movie remains an entertaining romp, and Alice is a badass. 9. Barbara, Night of the Living Dead, 1990. In the original Night of the Living Dead, Barbara is a character that seems to spend almost the entire movie in a near catatonic state of shock, until she is eventually consumed by the encroaching zombie horde. In Tom Savini's 1990 remake, the character of Barbara is played by Patricia Tallman. This Barbara is no terrified wallflower. This Barbara is a kick-ass heroine who fights alongside Tony Todd's Ben in order to survive the night in the farmhouse. And she ends up the only survivor. Number 8, Kirsty Cotton, Hellraiser and Hellbound. Kirsty, played by Ashley Lawrence, is to some degree a secondary character in Hellraiser. Secondary to her father, her stepmother, and her skinless Uncle Frank. Yet even in this movie, she shows her potential by standing up to the Cenobites and using her cunning to bargain with them. In Hellbound, Kirsty takes centre stage as she willingly goes into the Hell dimension to save her father's soul. She shows all of the characteristics of a good horror heroine. She's brave, cunning, and compassionate. Number 7, Crystal, The Hunt. One of the two most recent heroines on this list, Betty Gilpin's Crystal is a badass. An ex-soldier dropped into the middle of an insane situation by mistake. She uses her skills and rationality to take the fight to her pursuers. In a movie that serves to point out the ridiculousness on both sides of the extremes of the political spectrum, Crystal feels like the very personification of rationality, trying to survive in a world gone mad. 6. Selene, Underworld. A vampire assassin trained from childhood to protect her kind from an unending war with werewolves. Kate Beckinsale's Selene is a goth fantasy. A vampire warrior in skin-tight PVC who kicks ass and looks good doing it. The nature of the story makes her so much more than that though. As she learns details about the war and her own kind's part in its beginnings, Selene has to reassess her entire position in life. Number 5, Helen Lyle, Candyman. Virginia Madsen's character of Helen Lyle fulfills many roles within the movie Candyman. In many ways, she's the instigator. It's her investigations that actually bring Candyman back. She's the victim. She's the victim of a condescending and adulterous husband. She's the victim of her own intellectual arrogance. And she's the victim of the Candyman. Ultimately, though, she becomes the heroine who ends up destroying the Candyman and saving the life of a baby. Number 4, Becky, from Becky. The most recent heroine on this list is the amazing Becky from the movie of the same name. played by 15-year-old Lulu Wilson, who's already a horror veteran after Ouija, Origin of Evil, Annabelle Creation, and The Haunting of Hill House. Becky is a heroine like no other. When we first meet her, she seems like a moody, grief-stricken teenage girl. But when her family's cabin is invaded by a group of neo-Nazi escaped convicts, Becky releases a rage and a nastiness that puts her pursuers to shame. Becky is a psychotic, brutal and quick-thinking vigilante. 3. Laurie Strode, Halloween. The original and the archetype for the slasher final girl. Jamie Lee Curtis's character in the original Halloween is the epitome of responsibility. While her friends drink and screw around, Laurie takes her responsibility of protecting the children she's babysitting very seriously, going toe-to-toe with a seemingly unstoppable killer just in order to protect the children. Throughout the countless sequels, remakes, and so on, the character has changed many times, but she always, in almost every iteration, remains a natural-born survivor. Number 2. Ripley Alien. Sigourney Weaver's Ellen Ripley is possibly the ultimate horror movie badass, regardless of gender. Interestingly, in the original script for Alien, the character was written as a man. When the character was changed to a woman, very little was actually changed. Ripley is determined to survive a nightmare from which she can't escape. Her resilience and quick thinking save her in the first movie and save others in the sequels. Ripley will always be remembered as one of the strongest female characters, not only in the horror genre, but in cinema itself. Number 1, Nancy Thompson, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Of all the final girls in the slasher genre, Heather Langenkamp's Nancy will always, in my opinion, be the greatest. She shares the same seriousness and sense of responsibility that many of the others do, but add to that how much of a badass she is. She repeatedly takes on Freddy Krueger within the movie, both in the dream world and our own. Using her intelligence and cunning, she sets multiple booby traps for Freddy when she drags him out into the real world, and those booby traps really kick Freddy's ass. However, ultimately she defeats him by turning her back on him and his violence, and taking away the fear that he needs to exist. Well, that was my personal top 10 greatest horror movie heroines. Who is your favourite horror movie heroine? Was it on the list? If not, let me know in the comments down below. And until next time, stay scared and stay tuned.